It started somewhere, oh yes it did. From stone and dust to pyramids. Our history's got twists and turns. It's in the past, we all can learn.
Welcome to It Started Somewhere, the podcast that discovers the history behind the familiar. I'm your host, Shaimond, and today we're exploring the history of money. From ancient bartering systems to modern cryptocurrencies, we'll trace the evolution of this essential part of human civilization. Imagine a world without money. It's hard to picture, right? But that's exactly how our ancestors lived for thousands of years. Let's start our journey at the very beginning. Long before shiny coins and crisp banknotes, people used a simple system of exchange called bartering. This system likely originated around 6000 BC. Picture this: you're a farmer with a surplus of wheat, and your neighbor is a skilled tool maker. You need a new plow, and they need food, so you make a trade. Simple, right? But what if the tool maker doesn't need wheat? Or what if you can't agree on how many bushels of wheat a plow is worth? These were the limitations of the barter system that eventually led to the development of more standardized forms of exchange. As societies grew more complex, people needed a more efficient way to trade. This led to the development of commodity money, objects that have value in themselves as well as value in their use as money. Between 9000 and 6000 BC, cattle became one of the earliest forms of commodity money. Imagine trying to buy groceries with a cow. It might seem impractical now, but livestock was a valuable and easily transportable form of wealth. Around 1200 BC, cowrie shells gained popularity as a form of currency, particularly in China, Africa, and India. These small, durable shells were easy to carry and count, making them an ideal medium of exchange. As metalworking techniques improved, precious metals began to replace other forms of commodity money. This marked a significant shift in the history of currency. The invention of coinage around 1000 BC was a game changer. The first coins were likely minted in Lydia, modern-day Turkey, in the 7th century BC. These early coins were made of electrum, a naturally occurring alloy of gold and silver. By 500 BC, the use of coins had spread throughout the Mediterranean world. Greek city-states began minting their own coins, often featuring images of gods or local symbols. This standardization of currency made trade much easier and more efficient. While coins were revolutionizing trade in the West, another monetary invention was taking place in the East. In 806 AD, during the Tang Dynasty, China introduced the world's first paper money. These early banknotes were more like promissory notes, representing a promise to pay the bearer a certain amount of precious metals. It wasn't until the Song Dynasty in the 11th century that paper money became widely circulated. The government issued notes called jiaozi to address a shortage of copper for minting coins. This innovation spread slowly westward, reaching Europe centuries later. As trade expanded and economies grew more complex, a new system emerged to manage and facilitate financial transactions. In medieval Europe, early banking practices began to take shape. Italian city-states like Florence and Venice became centers of banking and trade. These early banks provided services like money lending, currency exchange, and the issuance of promissory notes. A major breakthrough came in the 15th century when Italian mathematician Luca Pacioli formalized double-entry booking. This revolutionized accounting practices and allowed banks to manage increasingly complex financial transactions. As we move into more recent history, we come to a period that had a profound impact on the global monetary system. In 1816, England officially adopted the gold standard, tying the value of its currency directly to gold. This meant that each banknote represented a specific amount of gold held in reserve. The United States followed suit in 1900 with the Gold Standard Act. This system provided stability for national economies and helped facilitate international trade. However, it also had its limitations, particularly during times of economic crisis. The 20th century saw dramatic changes in the way we use and think about money. In 1971, U.S. President Richard Nixon made a decision that would change the global financial system forever. He announced that the U.S. dollar would no longer be directly convertible to gold. This move, known as the Nixon shock, effectively ended the Bretton Woods system and ushered in an era of fiat currency, money that has value because a government says it does. The late 20th century brought another seismic shift in the world of money, the rise of electric payments. Credit cards, which first appeared in the 1950s, became widespread in the 1970s and 80s. By 1990, all money transfer between the U.S. central bank and commercial banks was in electronic form. The digital revolution only accelerated in the 21st century. Today, a significant portion of our financial transactions occur electronically without any physical exchange of money. As we look to the future, new forms of currency are emerging that could reshape our financial landscape once again. In 2008, an anonymous person or group using the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto introduced Bitcoin, the world's first decentralized cryptocurrency. Unlike traditional currencies, Bitcoin isn't controlled by any central authority. Instead, it relies on a technology called blockchain to ensure security and transparency. Since Bitcoin's creation, thousands of cryptocurrencies have emerged. While their long-term impact remains to be seen, they represent a potentially revolutionary change in how we think about and use money. From cattle and cowrie shells to credit cards and cryptocurrency, the history of money is a testament to human ingenuity and adaptability. As our societies have evolved, so too has our medium of exchange. Who knows what forms money may take in the future? Perhaps we'll return to a barter system, trading digital assets in a virtual world, or maybe we'll develop entirely new forms of currency we can't even imagine yet. One thing is for sure, as long as humans need to exchange goods and services, we'll continue to innovate and evolve our systems of value. The story of money is far from over. It's being written every day with each transaction we make. And that, dear listeners, is where it all started. From simple trades between neighbors to complex global financial systems, money has come a long way. But at its core, it still serves the same fundamental purpose, facilitating exchange and storing value. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the history of money. I'm Shaimond, and this has been It Started Somewhere. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, everything we take for granted today started somewhere. I'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy the show, subscribe and rate the podcast. It makes a difference.